Wow. Highlighting. That's fast. Impressive. How art thou today? Hey, dummy doll. 1 second, I still need to get fishing up. It was mainly because I'm just feeling better today, you know? Hey, 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗀𝘀. You can usually tell how I'm feeling based off what model I'm choosing to use. That this one is not very responsive today. Let us go to mouth. Oh, 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 oh. Mouth open. Apparently, I just had like. Maybe two. Maybe I just haven't really been opening my mouth much. We changed the jaw, so my teeth don't seem late. Hey, oh, I big old noggin. I learned your AKA Usk. Oh, I guess yeah. So he thought I caught Usk GPT, but somehow he didn't realize that you were Usk. That's a Usk. Yeah, you know he's in trouble when I say Uskar. JK, JK. We have a couple of new followers. Nice. But today we are. Mm. There's also Uski Buski. My kind of like third names for you guys are kind of some of the most fun to say, like Uski Buski, Demido, Tutu ala Tutu, and then there's Wonder. Ooh, let me change the settings on my other model too, because this is working out and I'm gonna forget later. And Yada boy. Yes, tomorrow. No. Well, I don't know. Depends on what people vote for. Oh yeah, looking at it, it's gonna probably be rigging. Funny usk. Oh, what happened? Oh, spaghetti-o. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, my model is breaking. Just a casual sign of my casual sign of my computer, my CPU dying a slow death. Or a quick one, now that I think about it. We're all red. 100% CPU, as per usual. The highest ones are Ace Attorney, VBridger, VTube Studio, OBS, Chrome, and Expression app, whatever Expression app is. I could start by closing this Chrome. Still at 100% though. Fine. It's funny because it like lowered it under 100%, but then it's just like, okay, I'm gonna use this time to fill up with my other stuff. Thank you for the hydration check. But Ludwig, you don't have to wait. You can just thank you for the book. You can just do it whenever, and then I'll just do it the next time I'm able to. I feel like I should move my coffee link because it's right on my face. And I need to remember to switch it. To coffee. You guys haven't been telling me how you're doing today, so a little bit of a problem. How are you doing? Become complacent. Stream alerts. Make it go. Doing okay. Okay. Now after I went back to sleep again, it's been pretty good. Mm. Fair enough. No, they didn't bite me. I was in my office. Although there do seems to be like an unusual amount of like fruit flies, which is kind of gross, you know. It's not like we're leaving trash around, so I don't know, whatever. Top left. Do a little test.
Thanks to someone we now have 3% better vibes.
No. Didn't update. That was a test.
Thanks to someone we now have 3% better vibes.
Are you hearing her voice? Because I'm not hearing her voice. Okay, well, at least you guys get to hear it, I guess. Oh, you know what I should do? I could just turn on monitoring. Wi-Fi monitor. Hey, Fox. Hey, Blunda.
Thanks to someone we now have 3% better vibes.
I definitely didn't hear it that time. It's monitoring output.
Thanks to someone we
Okay,
now
well,
have
I guess if you guys
3%
can hear
better
it, even though it's not
vibes.
me, whatever. Oh, yeah? What about my addiction? What do you want to say, huh? What about it? Probably also hide. Do thing major. You say so. My head is so big that, like, you can't even see, like, under my chin because my head's too big. Don't worry, Ledig. Nothing major. You're tearing this family apart? What the hell? What does that even mean? You dude? What does that even mean, dude? Let's look at people's reactions. Maki, Usk, steak, squirrel. They all want rigging. Number one was the clean room stream. Because I'm playing too much Played Up is apparently the reason. Apparently. Allegedly. Well, you know, if I'm playing too much, Demi's playing too much too. Oh yeah, so, what do you mean, but it's Demi? So we have a running thing. Do you guys think that for Donathon we should reset the gold for fishing? Then I feel like it'll really be a race because everyone will be starting on fresh ground. On the same playing field or whatever. That'll really get people going, yeah? Yeah. The true death of Red Skull, yes indeed. What Demi said. Side eye. Big eyes. Yeah, Blender, Demi and I use big eyes all this time now. Yeah. I think I'll do that. What Lennox said. No, not Usk. What Blender said. That on the 7th. And then 3. New month. And then whoever wins gets channel points. Don't mind me just rubbing my eyes. Hey, maybe did you run through the city to get back to... I didn't I just naturally like kind of power walk everywhere when I'm taking the subway and stuff. Power walk up the stairs. Doesn't matter how like out of shape I am, somehow I manage. Um and then but I did take a cab back because it was late, and there'd be some suspicious people sometimes, and if I was with my dog, I wouldn't mind, but he was at home, so. And yeah, so when I got home, I was just like dead tired, and Blunder was asleep at his desk, face down in pizza. JK, that was another time. Um, but both Demi and I agreed that probably wouldn't be a good idea to start playing. So if we start playing, then you would not be seeing HG Memmi right now. You'd be seeing Chibi. And I'd be like, I'm so tired. But I did take my meds today. Demi, take your meds if you haven't already. Yeah, I do, Blender. I really do. Oh, that's big. Do. As much as I love Played Up, you know, it's kind of nice coming back to Chronicles. Okay, the adventure of the unbreakable oh my god, speckled band. Miss Pavlova's cabin. Okay, excuse me as I warm up my 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 voice acting skills. Thank you for the blink and breathe. Oh, wait, let me put a tweet out real quick. Parents are now in Copenhagen. To get her. Okay. Tweet. Well, it turns out there's a world outside of Plate Up. It's about Tuesday. Join for some historical chronicles of base twimy bad Russian accents and all. Hashtag VTubers. Hashtag Ace. Attorney. And then I do my little emoji where I say, go down there. There's a link. Bandana boy? No. Of course we didn't. Twitch. .tv. TV/𝗟𝗶. Me too. I also thought it said banana boy. R.I.P. Banana. You were good while you lasted. I posted a new thing, did it not go? Does anyone see my new post? Doesn't look like it showed up. Oh, it said failed to send post. Why? Post. Why does it keep failing to send? Maybe because I didn't do www. Well, I think it's sent now. Wow, it just sent the second half? What the hell? What is my life? Oh, that I see. Let me try this. You're just seeing the first part? I think you're just seeing the second part. He's Attorney Chronicles. British accents. Bad Russian accents. Enough said. Memmi cat on Twitch. Okay. You saw that? Because I couldn't see it. Oh well, whatever. Anyway. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. So Sato-san took a deep breath and gently slid back the bolt. You! What are you doing in Ms. Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Good to know, Blunder, thanks. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we are going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Let me turn this down just a little bit. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running around everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Huh? You wicked intruder. Dressed in all black, you are the devil. Sorry? Me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is the first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? Oh, I gave her an English accent. What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came to your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Ah! He's a stowaway as well. His victim promises not to steal chicken. Do you believe? Ah. Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. Doesn't seem good, does it? There's a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to the police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga. Is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Miss Pavlova, can I... Get out! Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now! We just need to investigate here to understand what happened to... Ugh, no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you, except show you the way out to the ship's prison cell. Ugh, thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing and stowing away. Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and well... Enough! You are guilty. Ship cell's the only place fit for you. Come on, there has to be someone. Some savior to rescue me from this crisis. Well, he's not gonna rescue you. You got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's nothing really more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Yeah, well, who's that gonna be, huh? Oh. Hey there, Sherlock Holmes. What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Shlomes! No, we have an ad, I think. No? No ad? You guys should be getting an ad because it's 30 minutes in. Let me know when you're back. If you do have an ad. Or if you don't have an ad, let me know. Oh. A very good question, Fox. A very good question indeed. Let me hydrate so I can try and roll my R's better. Is anyone? I guess I just started late. Because right now we're in a 3-minute ad break, so I'll just wait till everyone's back. Famous last words, Usk. We had 6. Panadol? Panadol. Panadol. Ah, I see. I wish I could feel as excited about Polly as I do Played Up. There was a time where I really thought that I was never gonna stop playing Polya. You know when you're back, we do, but I don't. You don't have to let a dad let me know. Famous last words. Ask I had. What? Wow. At this point, I feel like you just leave them up just for the memes, not even because you need them or anything. Welcome back, everybody. Ahem. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that have I not told you that as a detective, it's my business to know what other people do not? It isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I need to... guess I just really don't open my mouth that much. I guess I really don't open my mouth that much. Let me just change settings just a little bit just to emphasize open. Wait, that says 36. Not 3. Oh my god. Okay, I think we're okay now. Right, model? You're not gonna freak out? Model? Model? Okay. I wish to determine if there would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, it's you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector! I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere else other than the hook on the wall next time. Blender, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is he like dancing when he was doing his punching thing? What is to report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes. I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. First, for I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Ha! You have stalled it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found the criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim, because everyone knows the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. Locked room. That is the point. The room wasn't locked. Oh, I can't deny that. There's no way that the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside of the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We've never discovered one. Why, it gapes open mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator. You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Pavlova, your snake is showing. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words that Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does that mean? What is a speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose to you for all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Yeah! What the? Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band. A snake. Indubitably. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray. Why do I keep rolling my eyes randomly? Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Huh? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap in which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's really a trap. How exactly? I think perhaps it is time to explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I've drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Ah. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No! She's turning as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Osogi. Osogi. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let's begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot! Intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it's that very pain that evidences your inexorable link to the victim's death. So, as we ask, what is the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend from which he boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. It has nothing. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have to answer this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that is what you are trying, but failing to conceal. Can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered through the next door. I'm pretty sure that's not how snakes work. They don't just, like, completely change their pattern like that. I mean, unless they're, like, growing up, maybe, but still. Using the bell cord, on the other side is a bridge. The serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appears that the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. It appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled. I don't think that makes sense. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime. Wow, blunder. Is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs the skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine would it be found in the deepest depths of India. Moving on, we've come to the heart of the matter, the demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been appraised, it would appear that there are no visible signs of injury. Ah? Or ah! In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm that at the scene of the crime. Oh no! Could that be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glances betray the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... But snakes don't like to... Snakes prefer to just... They're calmer in the dark. They're not usually moving around. It is telling that the victim made a note of low whistling sound when he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed. You put the serpent through this ventilator and waited. After a period, you summoned it back with a whistle. You couldn't have known if the animal had done its duty, so you listened for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you would release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Oh, Mr. 𝗟𝗀𝘀 died. This thus concludes 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝘀's great deduction of the speckled band. That was like the best one he had where there wasn't any major issues. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There, on the floor, you observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible! You solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝘀 has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madame. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other sort of treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example, the logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure how it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. But, madame, what about the tales of Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performer plays their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins. Then it should try harder. Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. If this is actually milk, then it's probably a cat that picked up the snake somehow. But it wasn't me! I think we need to step up and help again, We need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes! We need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling this was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down on your wrist again. What? You've done it again! Your handcuffs are gone. Hey, Freestar. Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see that they are restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. 𝗟𝗀𝗀𝘀 is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, good luck, Freestar. My mouth is like very dry. I've been taking sips this whole time. RN researching? What's RN researching? Let me put some gum in my mouth. Maybe it'll help stimulate my... Oh, got it. I wasn't used to it being in all caps. That's why I wasn't sure. Miss Pavlova. Moments ago, you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet, you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. Don't go to Times Square. Like, walk through it, but don't spend any meaningful time in Times Square. It's not worth it. Something that you should look up, circle line. I know you, okay, but even living in New York or whatever, you should still do the Circle Line Harbor Cruise because it'll teach you a lot of history. And you'll see the famous skyline and stuff, but they have a lot of history both on New York and stuff like that. And I've done it a few times myself, and it's always interesting. Even like living in New York, you still learn a lot of things. So highly suggest that. You can do like half the island, or the ferry can be overrated, but like for example, the Circle Line Harbor Cruise, you can see the Statue of Liberty, so it's kind of like a much better version of the ferry. I mean, I feel like if you're doing a tourist thing, you should experience it at least once. But really, it's if you have a little bit of spare money or whatever, I definitely think that that's a place to go. But Freestar, if you describe to me the type of like food or things that you want to do other than... Yeah, I like, my husband's parents came, they don't speak English, and they really enjoy the cruise, but like, originally he wanted to take them to the Statue of Liberty. I'm like, you realize that's like a multi-hour thing, right? But yeah, Freestar, seriously, you'll get a lot of bang for your buck, both like hearing the history and understanding all the things about New York, and I think it'll give you a greater appreciation for what you see there. No, I said going to the Statue of Liberty is multiple hours, because you takes time to get there, and then once you're there, you want to spend some time there because it's like you made it all that way, and it's like comes back. It's like that sort of thing. The Circle Line cruise, you can either choose like a longer one or just the southern part of Manhattan, I think, and it's like an hour and a half. So yeah, I highly recommend it. You can see all the things that I learned as a kid, like in growing up in school, like, oh, Ellis Island, where all the immigrants came in, and all that stuff. And oftentimes there's the person who's saying it is like very entertaining and funny. Yeah, they serve food, but it's not really serving food. It's more just like you can buy food, very overpriced food, from the concession stand. Oh, I see, Freestar. I see. Fair enough. Trying to think. Well, you don't have to sit. You can stand. You can walk around you can walk around the ship. You know, upstairs, downstairs. No one's requiring you. It's not like assigned seats. Sounds fancy, Blender. And since you like to move and stuff, it might be worth going to Coney Island. Since it's pretty iconic. You can walk pretty much the whole thing. Coney Island, not Pony Island. You can take a train all the way down there, so it's free. I mean, not free, but it is free. But you just have to pay the cost of the train ticket, not train ticket, the subway ticket. Yeah, but they have a fair. They have an amusement park there, but Coney Island is. It's like a boardwalk, and you know, you can see. You know, you can see a big, whatever. What's Penn Island? But if you want to try like, almost like more hiking stuff, like okay, yeah, see Central Park, but if you go to Prospect Park, that's kind of like the second. It's kind of like a small, Central Park in a way. It's in Brooklyn, but it's a lot more, what do you call it? Lively? Like, it's a lot more naturalistic. Oh, I see. Thank you, Freestar, for saving me. Billy Land. I see what you're up to, Blender. I see you. But yeah, so, Prospect Park is less manicured, and it just feels more kind of like comfortable, I guess. But like, if you go to either of the parks during the weekend, it's gonna be pretty packed. So, yeah. Because like, I know you don't want to do the tourist thing, but like, as someone who lives in New York, I feel like there's some things that people do frequently in New York, such as, you know, if they're interested in history and stuff, they go to the Metropolitan Museum. Like that type of museum, it takes multiple days to even see a portion of it, but it's really worth seeing. It would be a real, you can like plan out what you want to see ahead of time, but it would be a real waste to go to New York and not go to the Met at least once. You can go to a comedy club. Yeah, there's a sex museum, and they change it periodically. It's kind of, what do you call it? It's very kind of like sensationalist. And if you want to see tourists, those are where you can find them. It's mostly like art and stuff, and then of course they're like apparently like giant boobs you can bounce on. I don't know. Normally going to the manliest diner in America. I don't know about that. Oh wow. Well, you can go to Hooters anyway, anywhere. Don't go to Hooters in New York. At least make half an effort to go somewhere decent. There's a place called like it's something like Los Tacos or something that's like I wouldn't advise eating in any place that's like near near Times Square because it's just too busy. Although going to a Broadway show would be something that's worth doing. A comedy show. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could like go to a club or something, but the most New York experience you can have is just taking the subway. But it's like if there's ever any food that you've never tried before, it's a great place to do it in New York because you'll have probably the most closest authentic food to that, like short of actually going there. Which pizza is it? Unless it's my dad's pizza, it's not the best pizza. Okay. But also, like, everyone loves my dad's pizza. Okay, well, if he tells you where, let me know. I'm curious what this best pizza is. Yeah, at the same time, you should also try one of those, like, $1 slice pizzas that are just, like, greasy and whatever. Like, that's, like, the New York experience. Go into Union Square. That's worth walking around and just, like, the, that area in general is, like, very artsy, very hip. There's, you know, it's near where NYU is, and there are a lot of types. I'm going places and don't see any of the videos. Well, I just got very distracted just now. But if there's anything else in particular that you might be looking for, let me know. Okay, well, if you're assuming, since you're July 4th, I assume that you probably will want to see the fireworks. People start lining up, like, in the morning for, like, the best spots. So unless you can, like, get in a building that's, like, high enough, or if you want to go to the bridge or something, go early, and just know that when you're trying to go home, it's probably going to take, like, an hour, 30 minutes to an hour just to get to the subway, because everyone's going to be moving at once. So, take with that what you will. It's really, really packed. I've only seen it once in person, and it was only because someone was visiting. But yeah, if there are any... yeah. But also, they're, you know, they're tourists there and stuff. But if there's any restaurant you want to go to in particular that's around that time period, I definitely suggest you make a reservation. Don't just think you're going to be able to just walk in anywhere. Sometimes you are, but like if there's some place you really want to go to, definitely make a reservation if you can. It'll make a big difference. Oh, one last suggestion. 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀. This is a Japanese restaurant, Japanese ramen restaurant, but they have it in, I mean, you know, but so when I went to Japan with my parents went to the hotel, like, service desk, and was just like, oh, hey, can you recommend us some ramen place nearby? And they were like, oh yeah, there's like 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀 down the street. And we're like, 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀? We had been to the New York 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀 several times. Long story short, the ramen tastes the same. except that, you know, the New York one, they have a lot more sides, whereas in Japan, they tend to just focus on one type of thing. Like, it's a ramen shop, they're serving ramen. And maybe some rice, different kind of rice things, but they're not serving, like, dumplings and this thing and that thing and the other thing. That's, like, a very American thing to do. But kind of like in terms of a, you know, get a taste of some, you know, something like that, I highly suggest 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝘀. It's also near kind of like Union Square, 14th Street. 14th Street has a lot of things. And Brooklyn has a lot of amazing food. Like Williamsburg. But yeah, I could go on. I know a crap ton of restaurants. Because I also love to eat. Oh. Red Farm's a lot of fun. It's an Asian fusion place. There's two I think there's 2 locations, maybe 3 locations. But it's basically like it has this kind of like farmed table look, like aesthetic, but it's all it's like a Asian food, but it has like a very Instagram-y aesthetic. But it's like really good. So yes, the subway is indeed the cheapest, easiest way of traveling. It's a lot easier on the west side of the island than the east side. The east side only has the 6 train, which goes up and down. Whereas on the west side, it has like a couple of lines, and then they all kind of converge down below. You just have to make sure which direction you're going in. Because it can be easy, because it's like there's one direction going like south, for example, and then you literally turn around, the other side of the platform is going north. So but yeah, if you get hot, I suggest you bring a fan, because sometimes there's not air conditioning. Yeah, but once you start going to different boroughs, like the Bronx or Brooklyn and stuff, then things start going sideways. So in the end, sometimes it's not northbound or southbound, but it's just like, okay, what is the last stop? That's the direction you're going in. But sometimes things can have multiple names, which is a real pain in the butt. But TA, trip planner, can also help, unless you just want to use Google. Why did this just become a, you know, oh, I think, there's 2, either Gotham, I don't even know any swingers clubs, or the one that's just really famous, the, what is it called? Oh, especially since it's going to be right near July 4th, a lot of them might have, specific, sets going on, so you might want to look into that to see what you might prefer. But yeah, New York Comedy Club is the most kind of like go-to. Yeah, Gotham Comedy Club and New York Comedy Club. I've been to both. Pretty good. They're usually like first come, first serve type of thing. Like you get tickets, but in terms of seating. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but DM me anytime. I'm more than happy to help. Okay. As we were saying, But seriously, the Metropolitan. If you don't go, then you weren't at New York. In New York, I mean. Or the Natural History Museum. They're both excellent. I will hunt you down if you don't go. I got someone's office at the moment and a buddy contacting some friends who want to take a person in for a day. Ooh, you didn't go to the Metropolitan? Oh, man. Okay, well, you get a pass for that. Well, 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗀𝘀, if you ever come back to New York, you better let me know. I have you in a tuxedo with your face blurred as ransom. I didn't save it or something, I'm not weird, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Oh, but what would be really cool is have my dad make some pizza for you, and then you guys can talk shop. Bread shop. You can talk bakery. Yeah. He took penguin suit and made it Emperor Penguin. His pizza really is really good. Because he's very meticulous, and he's like the person who's like, how does all-purpose flour compare to, you know, 000 flour, which is like finer flour, compared to sprouted flour, like, or just like he just goes on and on and on. He's been doing this for years. And he has like, you know, he has multiple pizza stones, and like he has it down to a science. Everything is handmade. Yeah, it's just like you can't get more. I can't even call it bougie, but you can't get more of the, you know, every time we have someone come and visit, it's like we make sure that they have my dad's pizza. But yeah, whenever we go to my parents' house and my husband knows that my dad is cooking pizza, like he won't stop talking about it for like a week ahead of time. And that's saying a lot, because otherwise he just, you know, he's just he can be a normal person. You need to tell your dad about my pizza. I don't know anything about your pizza. How can I tell him about something I don't know about? But yeah, I got a lot of my hobbies from you. Peanut sauce, chicken teriyaki, red onion, mozzarella. I'm not sure how he would feel about that. That type of pizza. We'll see. I don't know. You had a guy like traveling on the road baking. Aw, that's cute. But yeah, both my parents are extremely well traveled, and they frequently make food from all around the world. So yeah, they're currently in Copenhagen. By the way, the pictures they sent of Sweden were very beautiful. Yeah, but I think the best pizza, and also it's just like, not everyone has, aside from like, oh, Chicago versus New York type pizza, everyone has different preferences in terms of whether they like thin pizza or like thick pizza. And you know, New York can offer both. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't blame them. Trying to think if anything else comes to mind. If you do end up consider going to a Broadway show, you should see Wicked. Even people who don't like musicals, the artistry and they have the most complicated set of all of Broadway, in my opinion. And so if there's one that you like should see, it should be that one. And I've seen a number of Broadway shows at this point, but that one is peak. Blue Man Group is also fun. Me ranting about New York for like 30 plus minutes. But yeah, the thing I always like to say is, like, some people are like, oh, I could visit New York, but I wouldn't want to live there. There is a place for everyone. If you know where to look. And any culture, whether you want it to be city-like or quiet-like or whatever, New York will have it. Just not cheap housing. But I digress. Okay, I think maybe I will return to the game. Oh, 100%. For sure. There are places that look like suburbs. And there are places where people mostly have cars. They tend to live more outside, but, you know, for example, Staten Island. There's no reason to go to Staten Island. Don't go to Staten Island. Also know that Brooklyn and Queens, they're technically on the same piece of land, but the going from one to the other is a real bitch. There is no... You have to, like, go into Manhattan and then out again. Trying to move from Queens to Brooklyn was the end of me. It took 5 U-Hauls, 1 U-Haul truck, and a moving company to get all of our shit. And it took a long, long time. And apparently U-Haul counts as a commercial vehicle, so I wasn't really supposed to be going on the highway. But I did anyway, because I'm like, I have no choice. Okay, I'm done spacing out. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kusama-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure that Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that right? Okay, thanks for stopping by. Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Taking heart. Oh! Use a cat. Told you. Oh! Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound. It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here. You know, she has been, like, holding her hand this entire time. So I guess it makes sense. Yeah, but they don't know.
Yes!
Yes. When you recall those horrid events, that cat claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed. And a simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inexorable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend from which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we've seen us before. It's a cat. You know, his thing kind of looks like a fish. It seems like that scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand. It was made by this friend of hers, does it not? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What is the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Cat. I have a feeling that it was this teapot that Miss Pavlova's eyes flicked to over there. You think this is the friend she's been talking about? Well, we're all different, aren't we? Whatever we may say about it, it's the way she feels. I don't think I'll say anything about it then. You and the teapot can discuss it instead. Wait, that's not what I meant. Oh, kitty. Ah, look at that photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that caught my eye. Maybe you should take a closer look at this. Look at that little cat Miss Pavlova's cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san, for the blackest outfit? A black kitten. And from the looks of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
Without a doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes! The scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Bleh. Because my tongue is, like, dry. And even if I'm sipping, it still is dry. I can't, like, talk correctly. Oh no! The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear. But what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! I have been drinking Wawa. I've been taking secret hydration checks. Darka is my best friend. I could never leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations in the night question a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was the sight that fell upon this victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, from which you are trying, but failing to conceal. It can only be the snake's sloughed off skin. Do you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever know. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sloane's specialty. He's ever so clever to force her to reveal something. Although I thought deduction was his specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? That brown thing. Well, it is speckled and it's a band, but... Oh, taking a break. Yeah. Oh, it's a cat teaser. Rapunzel. Hey, Carlo. How you doing? Rapunzel-haired Rasputin. Are you saying because he's Russian? Wow, very creative of you. Carlo, we are going to be resetting the fishing for Donathon, as well as the beginning of the month, every beginning month. So you know, basically the winner will get channel points. Welcome back, Glenda. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. Fishing. What do you mean subs? How could I reset subs? And also, why would I want to reset subs? I'm talking about the top fishing scores. You're good. Do you live close to your nieces and nephews? I feel like you see them a lot. Just not like a bad thing at all. Of course. I think it's kind of nice. You don't care about fishing? Blasphemous. And suddenly there'll be competition again. Wow. It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And it looks like a handle at one end. I think it might be a cat toy. This sort of thing is common in the West, apparently. How is that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it. Huh. That sounds positively adorable. It is adorable. You say, but it's like a half-hour walk, as if that's supposed to sound like a long time. Pretty much if anything is like 20 minutes or less, New Yorkers just walk it. Like, assuming they have time. Like, it takes 7 minutes just to get to my, subway station.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you're trying, but failing to conceal is a cat toy. Oh, got it. That's nice. Precisely. I wish I was that close to my sister. She's like 2 hours away. And it's just because if I was in Manhattan, it would only be an hour. And no one has a car. Except her, because she's in a different state, but whatever. Anyway. Precisely. And the true nature of how the infamous speckled band. Ah! And it was this toy that you dangled in front of the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat toy to incite the creature to return. Ah! In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, from which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of 𝗟𝗏. A truly troublesome feline young 𝗟𝗏 has proved to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. God, that's funny. Usk, I think also it's probably counting like the streams where I like stopped and then started. Because I don't think I actually had that many streams in May. Also, it was literally impossible because there are not that many days in the week. Oh yeah. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Population me. Saga, she's so naughty. Mr. Hoagie. Mr. Hoagie died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear that there's no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Cat bite? There are no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right, but Mr. Shlom seems unaware of that very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. He's just allergic to cats. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Are you saying that tiny kitten bit him right in the perfect place in his neck? Just like, no.
Yes!
Whatever. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath will be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have it on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. I don't know, he's just sitting here. You want a cat cam? Gift a sub and I'll show you the cat cam. Oh no. Oh no. 𝗟𝗶ጵ𝗹𝘀. Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Oh my god. Oopsie. Lord said 5 cat cams? Damn. Thanks. Thanks, James. Okay, let's see. Cat cam. You see my gathering of the things. Good luck. Well, that's why I was saying, like, on Wednesday, if people wanted me to clean my room as a stream. Off my table. He's not chunk at all, actually. One of your friends got a sub? Thank you to your friend. Is it got a patty? I bet it's got a patty. The only issue is I'm not wearing pants. It's not broken, it's because you gifted a lot. What if I flash you by accident? To try and show you how unchonky it— oh, here comes the chonk. Now this is the chonk. Wow, James. You're gonna cause some misunderstandings. Dangle, you're the fat one, right? You know, it just occurred to me that the cat cam right now is huge. Wow. One day I'll clean my room. If my room is messy, my mind is messy. So my mind is messy. Don't worry, I shame myself. I shame myself frequently enough, but yeah, you don't need to shame for me. See, look, he's not fat. Thank you for your subs. I appreciate you. Yeah, so basically it's like everything looks even worse than normal because I had moved everything because I needed to make space. I was like taking out my desk and my in-laws came and there's like all this stuff and then getting busy, so long story short, I'm just stuck here. I just have my clear path between here and the door. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. They'll be back. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Maybe this.
Yes!
Oh, I got it! Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. Oh, he slipped on something, maybe. Or not. Because it's his... what do you call it? This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by the little analysis device I constructed, which I now carry as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Sagi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. You tripped on the cat? Please, no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell onto the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear. Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now, your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death. In that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-san merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the marks on the floor do seem to suggest that's what happened. But... and if this part of Mr. Shlom's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova's trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin. Somewhere in the direction she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Is it in the trash yet? I've been waiting for things to be in the trash forever. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Ms. Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. The bell! Oh? What's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than just your mind playing tricks on you.
Yes!
I knew it would be useful sometime. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. That's not really hiding, that's just bad... whatever. Ah! Here, we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which evidently broke as a scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Yeah, high-pitched cow here. You're very well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. And that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Present.
Yes.
How is the link between setting up your VR and losing weight, connect, by the way? I'm gonna get the other cat toy, so in the meantime, let me just turn off this cat cam. I'll turn it back on when I get the toy. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. Pretty sure my cat knows what I'm looking for, though. Because I used to have it on my pegboard. I have a metal pegboard that's currently behind me. And I used to keep it there, except that he would climb up the pegboard. Anyway, he would climb up the pegboard and he would pull it down. The one that I know that I have, though, it's a blue one. I might have to get some replacements. Who needs to link to vids when you have me? Demi, no. That's not... Pretty sure that's not how it works. What do you mean by linking to vids, though? Am I missing something? Gonna arrive Donathon and ruin everything? Oh, gotcha. But, yeah... Let me think. Yeah, I've have a max of, for those who didn't... Ew! Ew. Like, you make it sound like it's the same time, like I'm gonna eat that mouthful of hot yogurt and enjoy it. You gross. I know what you're up to. Also, for those who don't know, I bought yogurt specifically for Donathon. And so, I'm able to, like, limit myself to the 4 that came in the package. Everyone has to... No, I didn't eat it all. I'm not gonna touch it. Shaking my head. So the yogurt I don't like is like when it's been like sitting out, but like but I could try putting in the microwave for the donathon if you want. For science, of course. Blender, that would be like a legitimate like health hazard. Yes, James, I've been trying to tell them that. I've been trying to like tell them, like, I don't know. I keep apparently like giving people the wrong impression that I'm some kind of like innocent thing. But you know, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like I like Payday, like whatever, and I like Avenged Sevenfold, and just like, wow, I didn't expect that from you. I'm like, just because I look cute doesn't mean, you know. Wow, James, get out of here. This is my face. But what was I gonna say? There's something else. Yeah. James, didn't we used to play a lot of Killing Floor together? Killing Floor. Those were the days. Wow. Okay. He found the broken end of his toy. I just hope he doesn't send it out of the room. Okay, anyway. My dear fellow, that evidence deserves one of Miss Pavlova's trademark dismissals, I would say. DP medals? No, I don't get it. What am I missing here? Did you know that Django used to fetch? I wonder if Theo will fetch. I just know how to Google, alright? The toy's over there to the left, so what are they looking at each other? Shaking my head. I don't know. Perhaps you would care to propose some other piece of evidence. The answer is really quite simple. I'm a full degenerate, fam. I need to be able to continue my search somehow, you know? JK, JK. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the low glass bell would be... Oh, the picture.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from 𝗟𝗀 collar, the very glass bell in question. No. Usk. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. I don't stream naked! I just don't have pants on, right? And the cause of that fateful stumble. It's really not the same difference. Your absent feline friend, 𝗟𝗀. She's clearly wearing a cape. Oh yeah, I forgot. As Ada frequently likes to remind me. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Oh my god. Deduction complete. Elementary. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I had no time to feed 𝗟𝗀, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquire the rather nasty wound at the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I read the rules on the wall. I knew I was not allowed 𝗟𝗀 with me. Boost. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened and tried to hear if there was some noise in the other cabin. It was very quiet, I was sure. If someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point you thought it was safe to try to lure the kitten back again by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining room. No, we haven't even had a trial. But it was... basically he tripped over a cat, and the cat was owned by Pavlova. 𝗟𝗀 always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound that Kazuma wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing I could do. I just had to wait until she calmed down. But then... I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... oh, there was such a dreadful bang. And then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... from the appearance of the brown mark of the floor, It seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS 𝗟𝗀𝘀 is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. He sees like some hair coming from a hairbrush that's moving around. I think he sees it as a toy. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again. Gracious. That cat is insufferable, restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself, at least. When I woke up this morning, I heard a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, hold on just a minute. What about the snake? You're right, where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it, and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Good smile. Oh, didn't I say? Snake is my friend. His name is 𝗟𝗀𝘀𝘀. What? What? That snake belongs to you. He escaped from the cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him here. Yes, how did the snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? Without someone who understands. Couldn't you find someone a little more human, who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. 𝗟𝗀𝘀𝘀 does not have venom. Do know have him. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomous? Venomless? Yes. Now he's hungry, and so he's in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ha! Like this. They say milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. 𝗟𝗀𝘀𝘀 eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. Don't tell me he ate the cat. Ah. Oh, so... is that what the mouse trap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like looking into their eyes right now. Look at that face. It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a cord bell, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce does something so inept land in a starring row? It's not my fault, I do not make up stories. My 𝗟𝗪𝘀𝘀 has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life, and if you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. What? What are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I am no great detective like Mr. Shlom's. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. The Russian wardrobe. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction! I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah! Not again! When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made a nice court call. You were, Mr. Shlom's? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth of how you really died. How the scene of your cabin really came to be. Alright. Let's see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes! What shall we ponder first? Is the victim who lost his life in the cabin was bolted shut from the inside? Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was there in fact no accident at all? One second, my dad texted me. That is what we must establish in the first instance. Well, we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, that's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case. But maybe he's studying Russian. Why would you do that? It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very, very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ah. Let me just recalibrate this. Maybe it's because my head was down that it wasn't reading as well, like, because I was like this. Did I put my head up like this? Maybe I can just update my... Sorry, just mumbling to myself. Which means after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't have possibly written anything. Because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't have possibly been there, if what Miss Pavlova said told was true. What? So, Sasuta-san has noticed too, is then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives it away. Another piece of evidence that proves there's no accident. In other words,
Yes!
what point are you trying to make with that evidence? Oh. I'm starting to see how... Oh. Got it wrong. If it was no accident, then we should be looking for one of two things. Either the absence of something you'd expect to find at the scene of the accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Most compendiously put, my dear madame. Ah, I see. I confess your rather languid "I see" doesn't fill me with great confidence, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does, anyway. Yes, it is starting to take shape now. If there's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here, the evidence is right here in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. In his cabin. Russian word for purple in ink. It would have appeared to be written in the final moment. Maybe this?
Yes!
No, it's not it. Any suggestions, guys? Wow. That's not a suggestion. You suck. Give up and accept the murder charge, but I didn't do it! I'm gonna stand up. My knee hurts. Okay, let's see. Oh, because she's trying to disappear?
Yes!
No! What the fuck? Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm gonna do autoplay, so... Another piece of evidence that proves it's no accident, in other words. But you still want me to choose? I thought the whole thing was that I didn't have to choose.
Yes!
Oh. I still want my accolades, so... Okay, yeah. Yeah. Is it within here? I'm gonna take a break. Okay, we're on the last part of this case, though. I could have sworn I already clicked this one, but apparently that's...
Yes!
Whatever. You guys see the little tufts on his toes? Aren't they cute? Look at those toe tufts. He is the fluffiest of boys. Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to show you his feetsies. Look at those hairs. So cute. With that glass bell around his neck, we already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. We already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did did one half of the bell end up here in this cabin? Ah. Yes, I remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both of these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. 𝗟𝗏 died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her guilt. Yeah. Yes, there is someone else present in Mr. 𝗟𝗏's... You are wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There's no way in or out. Oh yes. And the only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
Yes!
I can't even make low noises anymore right now. It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question who wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor, in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the whole time. And then, that same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen on the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half the bell was just going to raise questions. Yes, well, It was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You suspect me, don't you? Seaman Stroganoff. Nina is a woman of the sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join the ballet company. But before, she was a dancer on the ship, a member of the ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give you my tooth. My tooth? Well, this is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How could you be so sure? You are a great detective, you should know. Look truth in the eyes. Cabin bolt-head was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet! It's impossible. He's right. But wait! I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie a thread around door latches. They can open and close them from the outside. We've already talked about this. It's not possible. Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Construction of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Susato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted and shut from the outside. Not necessarily. But... I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes. You really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have, so would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
Yes!
Look at that bookcase there. See how all the books and things have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, the violent jolt goes through the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe. Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects. Is there nothing that Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force pushed that over those books and bookcase have made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah! It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come to this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello? Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounded like... Inspector Sonaga. Oh, yes! Don't forget to hydrate. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, as you want to call it. Oh, are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Osogi was killed, the 𝗟𝗶ጵ𝗹𝘀𝘀 made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked into the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had been toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hands across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? And then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing happen here. All the books and everything had toppled over. Just like Mr. Osogi's cabin. Oh my! Yeah, dummy, I know. Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Oh, you out of your mind. You say Boya made emergency stop. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room? Oh, it is simply enough. Simple enough, hmm? Are you forgetting the button on the passage outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you to only press the button in times of emergency. On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow crewmen to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. He pressed it? Wait, it was you? Oh wait, I don't know who said that. The button is pressed. Two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Mr. Slomes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, with whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure this all can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. Hey, Carlo. So, what we must now consider. Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Osogi, did this ship make an emergency stop or did it not? You are idiots. 𝗟𝗀𝘀𝘀's huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop, even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class cabin area of the ship, is it right? Da, that is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duty. What are you doing with that? Does that is mine? My voice so dry. You rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with the mind of returning it to you later. I left it there on purpose. This is always where I put it. The point is, look at what you usually record. It's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was reported at all. Nothing was recorded in the log. That is, because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you? Surprise, surprise, no one was surprised. Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened. Here, aboard the SS 𝗟𝗶𝗹𝘀. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I am perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh? Why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That is very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened at the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We all suffered it with it. Ah! Oh yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I! My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that's happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Oh, but Kazuma wasn't hungry. So he, didn't eat it, so he was awake. One moment, I'm just sitting down again. Also, after this case is done, like, this isn't just an excuse to play Played Up, but my throat literally is so dry. It's like getting very difficult to talk. So I'm going to take a break from Ace Attorney. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. I cry, Demi, I cry. But I'll do something by myself, I guess. And had those handcuffs put on me at that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes, sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug. What do you mean? Whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Shlomes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug would certainly be impossible, unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Shlomes? Well, Seaman? Eh? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Eh? I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, but when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did chew on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. We cannot make all drug. How you say, dissolve. Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat, while all the passengers of the SS 𝗟𝗀𝘀 slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-induced potion the evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, the people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. Oh, so she knew about that. But how does that make any sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all the passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes! The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. Though not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What's his point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present at the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who desperately tried to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock the door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. I know, I was thinking... I was thinking the same thing, James. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? You hear that the accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man, but you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Slomes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two prevaricators. Observation. If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that someone tried to fabricate the evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Osogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright. I'll see what I can do. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Left ear. Her earring is missing, maybe? Oh. Chunky arms. Funny. He's obviously the chunky arms. Oh, look at this! It's some kind of stain, in an unusual place. I don't think so. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from. What are you hearing? She has such pretty ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear. Ah, I expect that's what's called an earring. A little piece of jewelry. An earring, is it? It's really tiny. Perhaps part of it is missing. Maybe it broke off. No, we don't, Demi. All that's now left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear. So if that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. There nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform, and I think what made it is clear. Indeed, it is. So, Miss Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is.
Yes!
Yes, this is the photograph. And the ink shows. It's what caused the stain on your uniform. Hey, Blur. Blur, Nico. It's good, except my throat's getting dry, so I have to change soon after this investigation is over. How are you doing? Ink. Thank you for the hydration check. I'm literally, my bottle was full this morning. It's, for you Europeans, hopefully this is helpful to you, I don't know. 1,182 milliliters, or 40 ounces. I had filled it to the top and it's almost empty. Which is crazy because I don't usually finish this fast. It's only been 3 hours. Why am I so parched? A rather unusual color of ink, purple. Ah! Wow, James. Thanks. Ah, the penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. The stain on the back of your uniform is the ink of the exact same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moment immediately after this ink was spilt. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like wardrobe man did it. Then I pressed button to make 𝗟𝗀𝘀 do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. Had to go speak on a meeting on I seen that video. Oh, welcome back. So did you have to like go in for all of that, or are you at home even though you had to like wake up early? I don't know why they just wouldn't show it to them, but I had to. Oh. It's so crazy though. Like I know it wasn't your yard, but the fact that you were saying that like stay late because someone might get hurt and then someone did get hurt. It's kind of surreal. When do you think you're gonna be home? I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Okie dokie. Eve, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do the talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling the passageways. I can't even roll my R's. Mom, I was telling, or Blunder, I was saying that my mouth is so dry that I can't speak correctly, and I've gone through practically my entire 40 ounces of water, which is not usually the case. I don't know what's going on. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please, you must help me. Thanks, James, for really clarifying that. I went with her. The door to cabin 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here? What could possibly be it? Please don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. No, not the diabetes. Everything happened in cabin is like Angel told you. Let me try one of these warming throat drops. Maybe it'll help lube my throat up. Don't make any jokes, James. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck while he fell onto the floor. Yes, that is right. I mean, I guess it would explain, because, like, I've had an air conditioner just blowing at my face all day. But I don't usually get dry mouth that often, which is why I didn't, like, think of allergies first. Leave his chat! Yes, that is right. So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers? Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sounds of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel. The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked inside, I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? I think she is saying. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So, is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth behind Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very, very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took it myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. An unfortunate incident that precipitated this event, a kitten from which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph. It seems to me somewhat unnatural. What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... I think it's his fist. If Kazuma tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident. I was literally chewing gum with a minty flavor earlier and it didn't really do much. Then, like, I have this throat lozenge. It's not for, sore throats, it's for, supposed to, well, it's for sore throats, but not, like, sick. It's a different kind of medicine than what you, like, cough drops. It's not a cough drop, is what I was saying. It's a pectin oral demulcent. Then this fist doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instincts open palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say. As though he were gripping something. Like his sword? What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madame. Would I keep you in suspense? You already are, dude. Oh. This This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. Very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, I noticed that on your ear. Even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding it together must have broken, I suppose. Eh? What? But look at your other ear. I noticed a crescent moon. Ah! I don't believe it. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear, perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally an arm's length away from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it to his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? Throat's so dry. Much well. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away. The fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was last in this cabin, I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried to wave her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back. What are you doing here? What? Oh, what are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Or who's talking? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me find Darka, and then he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah! Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No, I don't know that name. I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land far east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? I'm sure I read your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? And it happened, everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then 𝗟𝗏 jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And then, as he turned around to look at me, oh! I pushed him. Wow, you bitch. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out, and I thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help, and that's when you arranged things in 𝗟𝗏's cabin to make it look like I did it. So no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Well, how did they even know that he was stowing away if they like, didn't know he was there? Like, how could they frame him if they didn't know he was there? Unless maybe they took off the thing and then put it back on. I don't know. Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found stowaway. Oh, well, that answered my question. In wardrobe, still sleeping. Right. That was when he found me. So you worked out a plan. Lay the blame on the stowaway. I closed the wardrobe door and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged the young man's body to a good place and used ink that spilled to write on floor. I wrote, "Wardrobe," so that people who found him would look inside the wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what was the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin and finished the job. By pressing emergency button in the passage, by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS 𝗟𝗀𝘀 did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m. Thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating a locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said you told, 𝗟𝗏 about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. It's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It's what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought you were a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as bodyguard. I thought if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the belt cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? Yeah, this just goes on and on. I thought it was gonna end. It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Sogi really going to pull the belt cord? I don't know. Hey, Baki, how you do? How you do? How are you? What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? My mouth is really dry, but otherwise I'm good. Thanks for the tag on Twitter. I believe in you, Fox. You got this. Well, I'm not Kusama. Kusama, so I can't know for certain, but... He was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give his secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done as yet, seems. It seems one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? He's going to ask his friend. Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy, I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but I still... That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Mr. Pavlova visited Kazuma-san? Yes, exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out even by a little bit when you're following the gaze of where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Take that!
Take that! Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however... What is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe. And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Sogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Sogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh, no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Sogi was looking at. Things may have ended up very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really. I'm so sorry. What have I done? And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS 𝗶𝗀𝘀 was finally laid to rest. January 9th, 7:14 p.m. SS 𝗶𝗀𝘀, first class, cabin, passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away? What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort that out. Mr. Slooms can do that. So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. 𝗟𝗻𝗀𝘀? I wanted to help our angel no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... Well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect anything different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. You mean where my friend died? NBD? Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it even begun then. To think only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we tear up the streets of London. Seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Chisato-san. Naruto-san, I hadn't known you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, ready to leave for the ship tomorrow and all that. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Sato-san. He had such great ideas for this visit to Great Britain, so many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth, that it was an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruto-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Inspector, my duty was to see Asagi safely to Great Britain, but I failed. Ooh, break. Why are there suddenly 15 people? Hello? I really need to make a be right back and break screen and all that stuff. I think it would help a lot. I'm feeling kind of lazy today. Maybe because it's hard to do accents and talk anyway as it is. But generally I'm trying to just like rest. Kind of get my strength back before donathon. I'm the type of person it takes some time to recover. I can't just like have a good night's sleep and just be ready. Not so dry much a while. Thank you, Dummy-Doo. But I failed and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. Oops. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Surprise! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo? What is the meaning of this? One moment. What I really need to do is clean my Brita filter and start putting water in it again. Because right now it's like, I have like a little bit left and it's been sitting there for far too long. Anyway. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Put that in my head. I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway, after all. He thinks this is funny. Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. Although it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heart-rending. Heart-trending. I hope you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. Was to be? In light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. No, I don't care for me, but... Where's Sato-san? My dear fellows, the majority of problems have extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is 1 lawyer, and a study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes. How? They're on the ship. I know they're talking about him, but like, come on. Miss Susato-san. Yes. Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Ah! But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry, in that case I don't think there is even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo? That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anyone could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time you reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let that all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Sato? I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are of no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes, from the early hours of the morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Oh, that's nice. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my reports to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said I'd do anything to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how to best make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? everything about being a lawyer. I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take the charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword and it's been in the 𝗟𝗍𝗀𝘀 clan for generations. Very well. I accept. Treasure it always.
It's your soul.
So then, Miss Susato, it seems we'll be working together for some time yet to come. It would be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo.
Night-night, Fox.
And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
Thrice. Haha.
What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-san's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
Because she did it to me thrice. That's why she's saying it.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin doors locking me inside. No! I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should have never thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times! Huh. That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it. No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life.
Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
When did he see that?
I presume it would be some form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me.
How beguiling.
I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer.
There he goes, dancing around again.
I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me of the technique of your arresting throw. Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame.
Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Hiya! As you can see, you can throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And this is what you term the Susato takedown.
Actually, no. It was the Susato squash.
For demonstration purposes.
My groggy state of consciousness. A scene from the evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered in my mind.
Karuma?
That's right. The prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the 𝗟𝗍𝗀𝘀 clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little regular, surely.
A Japanese man's sword is his soul, right, Ryunotsuke? I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that.
Though his name compels its wielder's life evil too. Not that you would need much compelling.
On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'll appreciate you seeing it through with me. Oh, of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Are we gonna find out what that is, though?
That important thing you had to do. I still don't know what that was.
Maybe we had to check his diary or something.
But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London.
Ugh, finally. That was exhausting. I think there's an achievement I missed though. Indeed, indeed. I'm gonna end a little early here today, just to rest my throat. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Thank you for coming through. I know some people will be surprised. You're like, why aren't you online? Don't worry, we'll make up for it. Go see Stakey. 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝗀𝘀. Lama. Remember, flew for poof. Flew for poof. Bye bye.